Hello everybody. Today we're going to be discussing the condition of road behavior in Dearborn. Today with me I have my teacher Mr. Said, who lives quite far away from Dearborn and has two different environments of driving. He has one where he lives where he describes it as a little better, and he says that Dearborn's road condition is actually worse than the one he lives. And also what we've talked about is our possible remedies to our driving problem. So, Mr. Said, what do you think are some possible things we can do to remedy our driving problem?
I would say increasing fines, some kind of punishment for drivers on the road, knowing that there's going to be increased cops out there, that people will be holding them accountable for their bad behavior. I certainly think also early on, driver education should focus on that, but I think more likely the only way to fix this is to have an immediate presence on the road and to discourage drivers from this kind of behavior.
That's a good point. I also say that education is very important because by educating our youth, we really embed this idea of keeping it safe on the road for a long time. And we can ensure that more families will remain united rather than losing their kids or their parents or whoever it may be. And Mr. Said said that it was different in his area. The driving in his area is a little different. What ways would you say your environment has different drivers in Dearborn? What behaviors would you say is most?
What makes Dearborn worse, you mean?
Yeah.
I just say very aggressive drivers. You're more likely to be cut off. High speeds. You'll see the occasional drag race occasionally on the road. This is overall kind of a lack of regard for lanes, switching all of a sudden. Generally an environment where you have to pay more attention to what other drivers are doing. So defensive driving, I'd say.
Yeah, I agree. And also what I've personally noticed on the road, driving with my brother to school every day, except obviously when senior year graduated, is that whenever you're trying to leave the school, people will often beep at you because you're not turning. And the reason why you may not be turning is because there's a big amount of cars coming your way. So it doesn't make sense to turn in the first place, yet they still beep at you like you're doing something wrong or you're holding them up. I mean, it's only a 2-minute difference at max, and I don't understand why people do this. And this kind of ties back to the behavior aspect of it, because people are rushing to get to their destination with a lack of regard to the laws and the regulations of the speed limits and all the other things. And my final question I have to you, Mr. Said, is what would be your message to people who have reckless driving behavior?
It's not worth it. You have to think about your own children. Would you want your children driving like that when they're adults? Would you want your teenagers to be on the road with that kind of behavior? I think the answer most of us would say would be no. So,
I think that's a well-thought message, and my message is that it's around the same lines. And also, if you get ticketed one day, don't blame the environment or the speed limit. Blame yourself. If you're going 5 over, that's on you. It's not anybody else's fault. You decided to take that risk, and you suffered the consequences. It's your fault. And my final message for today, before this interview ends, is that when you turn, please look left, right, left, because every time I see people in front of me, nobody makes sure that it's clear. Just be safe out there, and that's all I have to say for today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Said. I appreciate it.
No doubt.
That was fun.